Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Taco Imposters for August 20th, 2024. I was just watching a David ML video. So it's the guy from MKBHD. Um, he he's on the podcast. He's on Waveform podcast. That's probably him. But yeah, he's talking about like what is a smartphone, right? And like this whole idea of like, well, it's a personal assistant. It gets your things done. It's a computer, and it's a computer, and it's a like camera and a web browser, and it's a word processor. It's a GPS. It's everything you do. It is, and I'm like, yeah, it's true. It is. It really is. Because it is. Definitely is. Because that's the thing. I was thinking, I'm like, that's what everybody does, right? It's just use it, like. And then I realized, I remembered, I'm like, you know what the two things were? I'm thinking to myself, the two things the two things that you like, you were some like posh guy, rich posh guy. I don't know why, because a lot of people, like loads of people, had the two things. But I always thought you were some cool, you know, mofo if you had a DVR and a GPS. I don't know why, but that was like oh yeah, if you had those two things, or one of those two things, one you know, and or the other, right? It was like this amazing, immaculate, like, whoa, that's like insane. That's so like cool. Like you have, oh, you're cool. Oh, the third one was a flat screen TV. If you had those three things, because I had a CRT TV till like 2015, 2014 or something like that, 2016, somewhere in that range. And I'm like, oh, wow, or that, oh, and I still, and I didn't have a DVR until way like after DVRs were cool, and I was like, oh, that's why DVRs are cool. Cool. Like when I use one, um, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I was like thinking, like, I still have a Garmin from like 2012. I got a Garmin. Well, I didn't get a Garmin. I got it. My family got it when we went to the states. So, um, but yeah, because I got like a GPS right as GPSs were just like dying, or like not a thing really anymore, or not much of a thing. Because by that point, by 2012, 12, 13, anybody who was like a person who, I don't know I don't know exactly what kind of person, but like the person who, I don't know, but like they all got smartphones. Like everybody got smartphones. Like, kids didn't have smartphones yet, but anybody who like did anything important, if that makes any sense, was a was a or got a smartphone. So for like, my mother had a smartphone, but I don't know why we didn't like think of. We just didn't know how things worked, I guess, at that time. So for us, I guess my mother just didn't want to. Also, maybe she didn't have a service or didn't get internet. I don't know. Oh, she probably didn't have what's it called? Or she probably paid for like service but not data. Now you just have roaming data. It's all the same difference here. What no, so it's all the same thing. So not that we probably couldn't have had it. You just didn't know how it worked, and I don't know if it was expensive or not. Maybe she just didn't care to even bother with it. So we got one in the states, and I still have lifetime map updates, so which is kind of crazy, but okay, cool. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so yeah. So GPSs, yeah, so that's a cool, like, that's what they are, like, and that's the thing. And then GPSs feel like one of those things where they haven't really like evolved too much. I watched a video about like what does Garmin do nowadays? Like what are they selling? How they exist? Because they were the biggest GPS guys, but then like nobody even thinks about them anymore. Like, right? So so it was very much, well, in the video they were saying how, well, what they sell now is like the watches, and I guess they sold their 360 camera. I don't really know. I don't know if anybody bought one. So, but yeah, well, but they sell like that, so the watches, and go into the other end. So that's consumer, and then you go into like the like commercial. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Um, you sell things like GPS, emergency, all wrapped into one, devices of like safety, whatever, for like boats and planes. Yeah, they're still like the guys apparently. I don't know. That's what they said in the video, so I don't know. But yeah, um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so yeah, cause I was thinking like, oh yeah, your smartphone, right? So yeah, it's like your everything. Everybody uses it as like a like cause smartphone's almost a dumb thing to call it now. It's more of like a digital system that just does like everything for you. Like it does all the things. I was thinking to myself, okay, you can tell kind of what kind of person the person's gonna be if you ask them like, well, what do you use it for? Like especially if someone's gonna ask you, what phone should I buy? You ask immediately, what do you want it to do? Like what do you need it to do? What is it? What's it good for? What do you use your smartphone for? Is it a computer? Is it a media consumption device? Is it a camera? Is it a gaming device? Is it a like you have to like think about it. You want big battery life, good battery life, easy fast charging. You want what do you want? Like it's kind of that like I was thinking about it like as in like we haven't gotten necessarily to that point yet, but we're at the you know we're getting closer and closer to the whole what Apple wanted with its. I don't know if you ever seen a commercial where it's like the girl who's I think she's like coming home, or she might actually already be home anyway, but she's like in her I think it's in her backyard, and somebody goes she's using an iPad and somebody says to her, well, "What's that? Whatever? Or is that a tablet or something? Or what? What is an iPad or something? What is it? Whatever?" Because they're trying to make it out to be like she's thinking. She's like, it's all just like blurred into like a computer. This is a computer now. It's like which it wasn't at the time at all, but um, yeah. What was I gonna say? So yeah, right. That's kind of like what it's kind of turning into now. Like almost like some people don't even think about it. They just go, that's a it's all like kind of melded into it. So because like that's the thing, right? There are probably going to be generations or maybe a generation of people who's like don't own a desktop computer because they just don't need it. It just doesn't. There's nothing that like makes you have to buy one, or like there's no reason for it. Like and like when you say computer to someone, it becomes a computing device. It's no longer a desktop or laptop thing, right? I mean, frig, schools like are giving kids iPads now, not laptops. There was a time, maybe about 5 to 7 years, 5 to 10 years ago, where you would get like a Chromebook or get like a computer, a laptop, or you'd get like a cheap notebook esque computer, right? Notebook like laptop. But now, no, they're giving them iPads. Well, I think that was because the education market was always a thing for Apple. Apple was always in the education market, so schools can get very, you know, education discounts. I'm sure. So yeah, so I think that's what that happened there. But still, like they're giving them iPads. There was a day, there was a time when. Well, that was the thing. I always hated the iPad, but I'm okay. Hate is a strong word. I don't think I hated it. I just thought it was so useless. It's dumb. It's dumb because I always thought, like a lot of people did, it's a big iPad. It's a big iPhone. That's literally all it is. It's a big iPhone. And if you can add cellular, done. It's a big iPhone. It's literally a big iPhone. So, which isn't bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I used an iPad. I think was it 2 or 3? Might have been 3, but and before until my brother broke it. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I just didn't really care too much for. I don't know. I just didn't think too much of it or think too highly of it or didn't really bother with worrying about it too much. But yeah. So what was I gonna say? Yeah. So yeah, that's what these things have turned into. These like, because that's the thing, right? You can probably ask a whole generation of people, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I never owned a computer." You know, well, this was my computer, right? Like what? How did you get away with that? But like, no, everything's an app now. It's like it's the same thing of like I thought about this and then I heard it on the WAN show. Luke or is it Linus? Anyway, both were like it's like that same kind of thing where it's like websites. Like I think we're at a time where you know everybody needs a website, but unless you're being told like surfing, you channel surf, right? You used to I don't know if people remember it, but you used to channel surf, right? You just like find oh cool, cool, cool. You're not gonna accidentally stumble upon websites anymore. Nobody goes and finds random websites. Nobody goes and finds this website or that website because we don't look up keywords for anything anymore. We put here's our problem or here's our dilemma or here's our conundrum or here's our thing we want to know, and then we put either Reddit after it, or we like go on these places to find things, or we're just on social media. Because I said no, I heard this before the WAN show talked about it, but I thought about it before that. But it was this whole idea of how many like when was the last time you went on a website that wasn't social media, your emails, or Wikipedia, or Google? Like seriously, think about it. And when was the last time it was not prompted to, like you know what I mean? Like oh, some guy's merch website or somebody's website for some business you want to buy, like or Etsy shop or someone's business website. Like oh, because I have a friend. I know somebody who's a videographer, so I'll go on her website. But you know, that's a prompted thing, or merch is like a prompted thing, or my website for information about me is a prompted thing a lot of times, or for someone is a prompted thing for right? So right, like just, think about that. So yeah, no, look, I'm saying it. There isn't a time like we need. Everybody should have a thing now, like all the time. Everybody should have a website because it's there's no easier time in history to make a website. There's no easier time to make a website with Squarespaces and Wixes and WordPress and and all these other things. Like you can just pay a guy. I paid a guy to make my website. So after I went with because the problem with Wix was, and I saw a post on Reddit about this actually, and I might actually go back and read it. I didn't really read the full all of it, but like, I was just wondering, like, well, what are the like weird, um, or what are the like, yeah, weird hidden fees that like people don't think about or realize or notice? Like, it's kind of the thing where, okay, so in Canada, this was what 2000 and like, I think 16 or something, 15 or something. I don't know. I think it was Trudeau's like, I think it was Trudeau, right? Or was it before Trudeau? Anyway, we had F-18 fighter jets that we bought, right? Or we produced. We paid loads of money to be had. I don't know if we made it or bought it or whatever, but there was a controversy where, well, you didn't tell me the lifetime of the thing, so our budget is not taken into consideration. Everyone's like, oh no. And everyone had a big cow of like, it's actually going to cost us, like, because somebody was like, well, you're all stupid and wrong. It's actually going to cost us this much because you didn't take into consideration this, and this, and all this, and fuel, and maintenance, and this, and that, and this, and that, and the lifetime of the thing. It's like, what? What? You know, right? It was what some people thought. And then, so yeah. And so this is where it's like, well, because this guy wanted to know, like, okay, before I go with someone like Wix, what am I going to be incur? What are these costs I'm going to incur in the future? Is there something that like people don't realize or recognize or like know that exists? And it's like, well, and so and then people in the comments are like, oh, we'll never touch any website that uses Wix. It's so unprofessional. You're like, in this day and age, you should really know how to do it, or you should know somebody who knows how to do it. Like make a real website. Like I'm like, what do you mean real website? What does that even mean? I'm sorry. What does that even mean? Stop that. Like, come on here, man. I think everybody should have a website. So, yes, I mean, so I I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, and then other people were like, oh yeah, there's this recurring cost and that recurring cost, and there's these little things that like people don't realize. And then oh yeah, there's this cost and that cost, and like there's this not hidden fee necessarily, but there's this fee that you don't think about. And then basically what it's asking is, what am I actually going to pay? Like, what am I actually going to pay, either monthly or yearly or whatever? You know, because obviously it depends. Because also like, and I know there's different tiers and different levels. Like there's just website builder, then there's website builder with domain, and then there's domain name, and then there's domain name, and then you just buy a domain name from these people. And then I talked to somebody who makes websites, right? Oh, I should have talked to her to make a website. Oh well. Once I talked to someone who made a website once, and she like explained to me how domains work, and she's like, literally, how these domains work is there'll be a company that exists, right? There'll be a company that springs up, right? And all they do is buy up other domains. So like the GoDaddies and the HostGator and the um oh, there's got to be other people. GoDaddy, HostGator, not Squarespace, because that would be the builder part. I mean, probably Squarespaces and Wixes and those kind of people also probably do it too. Would just buy up these large sums of domains. It's the places you go to when you like look up this website and then it comes up and says for sale, right? I looked it up once, and tells you how much like this website is going for. Oh, this website is going for blah 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 X amount of money, right? And so yeah, so they just buy up a bunch of websites, and then you buy, and then when you want to buy a website from these kind of people, you buy from them. So I have no idea how it works in the sense that like if a website doesn't exist technically, I don't know, but all I know is like that's how that works. So you kind of just buy it from these other people who own like giant repositories of website URL domains. So yeah, like it's kind of crazy how like computers like just kind of crazy, right? Because yeah, so I think everyone's have a website. So that's the thing. Unprompted, gone on thing, right? You're not gonna find random cool websites anymore. Nobody goes and surfs the web anymore. They don't. It's not a thing. People don't do that. You could not tell me a single website that you use unprompted, unmitigated. I think mitigated is the right word. Anyway, um, un yeah, prompted, like, and you can do it naturally, and like you find things that, like you could not tell me the last website that you found that was useful and interesting. Not at all. I mean, again, unprompted, where it's not some YouTube video that's telling you, or some, you know, post on some social media that's telling you, hey, look at this cool website. Oh, no. I'm talking like you were just on the internet and you like looked random thing up, you know? Right. What I mean was like, like I'm sure if you're my age or older, you did that thing where you just punched in a random thing, for either pictures or something, or you wanted information about this thing, or you wanted to know if there's like, because that's the thing. You also knew that, oh, websites. So you're gonna look for websites of this thing, whatever you're interested in, or game, online game. Like that was a thing we did. We looked up online game for whatever it was you wanted. Pokemon or Dragon online games, or like Mario online games, or like military online games, or that's what we did. And we found all these random websites, or we just look up like a thing we liked. I don't know, squirrels, and then we found a random website about squirrels, or we found this thing about this, or like, oh, I like Back to the Future, so let me find a website for that. Let me find some forum. Cousin too. And then, what's it called? The Modern Rogue. So it's Brian Brushwood and Jason Murphy, right? And they're doing a thing about, I don't remember what they're doing. They're melting some plastic, maybe, I don't know. They just had time to kill, and so they were like, okay, let's just talk for a while, right? And one of the things that Brian brought up was like, forums are just dead, because once the advent of once Reddit came along, and the advent of subreddits, Forums just gone. Forums are just legitimately like gone. I'm sure. No, that I can almost guarantee that there will be whole like generations that just have no idea what a forum is. Like what? Or they might know the like concept of a forum, like a server, Discord server, or a subreddit, but they won't have ever gone on a forum. Like a dedicated. This is the Ocarina forum, or this is the Pokemon forum, or this is the whatever forum, right? This is the sports forum. This is the car forum. No, and that wouldn't be surprised people don't use. I mean, I never liked some of the ways forums were run, like or not run, but like set up. It's kind of confusing. You can never find things super easily. I don't know. I do think the best place for something too is like you need three things. Okay, you need a social media page, right, for whatever you're doing. You need a Discord server. Okay, that's less necessary because it's very dependent on what kind of thing you're doing. But you need a website, social media, and possibly a Discord server because it depends if you're doing because that's more for like a community, right? It's not necessarily a business thing, depending on what you're doing, obviously. Because like some things are easy to get or very good to get to, and like you build a community and you can get people and find things, and then have pages be like, hey, this is the page for this. This is the page, or yeah, or server page for that. This is the page for this. This is the section for that section, and then you could have like support, and you can have this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, what were they gonna say? Yeah, so yeah, support and whatnot. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, I think everybody needs a website, a social media page, and possibly a Discord. Well, I don't know. So the Discord is less necessary, but yeah. Um. So I'm. So yeah, because it's easier than ever to make websites and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we just did that. We just went and found random websites, and now nobody does that anymore because for whatever reason, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just strange. Also, it's like your phone, right? I was thinking also like, okay, tell me the last time you decided, oh, I'm going to call that person. I'm not going to, or I'm going to call for this information. I'm going to call this company. I'm going to call this, but instead of going on their website or finding the person you're trying to talk to on, either texting them or finding them on social media or whatever, right? It's the phone of the smartphone is the least used thing ever. That's why I say, what if someone's asking you either what phone should I get, or like if you want to find out about a person, you go, okay, well, what do you use your phone for? Like, what is your phone? Is your phone everything, and computer and everything that goes around it? An MP3 player, a camera, a word processing device, a music player, a audio recorder, I don't know, all that kind of stuff. Is it a specific thing like, oh, I'm looking for? Is it a media consumption device? Is it a gaming device? Is it a? So that's the thing, in my opinion. That's what you know. And then if they're asking you specifically for, oh, what phone should I get? Then you ask, okay, well, what do you want it to do? What do you need it to do? What is it that it should do? Right? You just want it to last long, and that's it. You're good. Like, you just want battery life, so it doesn't really matter what it does, and you just want decent everything else, or you want this good thing or that good, So yeah, because like the phone part is the least thing, the last thing people think about now. Oh yeah. Because also that's the other thing, we've kind of perfected it, and gone are the days when your phone would literally say, like, as a spec, it would be like, or as like a selling point, you'd have a not range, yeah, I guess range, but like how good the phone was at being a phone, because that's the thing. Feature phones, would do that. Dumb, quote unquote, dumb phones, would do that. Would have that kind of stuff. So yeah, because that's gone are the days when you would think about. Because that's the thing, we kind of perfected it, and now it's just a phone, and all phones just work, right? The phones just work as phones. Like, they will always work as phones. That's the thing. They will always work as phones. They're just phones. They just work. Like, and if it doesn't work, then you have a big problem. Because like, really, you know. So yeah, to me, it's one of the least necessary things. That's the thing. That's why, because if you ever looked at something called the Bux Palma, which I think it's called the Bux Palma. Anyway, it's basically now. I thought about it and I went, iPod Touch is a um, better, what's the word I'm looking for? Better like comparison or better thing to like better whatever comparison better thing better thing to whatever. I know the word I'm looking for, but it's not. Anyway, better analog, whatever, what thing, whatever. That would probably be the better thing to think about. Like, if you had an iPod Touch, like that's what most people could use, right? That's what most people could conceivably get away with. They could get away with just iPod type thing. The only problem with the iPod is it's the data thing where you can't put a like SIM in it, or you can't put like have like mobile data. But something like the Bux Palma, right, is probably what. So okay, what the Bux Palma is it's basically an Android iPod Touch device, like a you know quote iPod Touch device in quotes, where but it's using a e-ink display, and so what it's probably good for. I don't know. Can you put I have no idea if you can actually put a what's it called into it a sim into a Bux Palma. I have no idea much about Bux Palma. All I know about the Bux Palma was that what's his name again from Marquez Brownlee stuff. What's his name from the podcast? Oh gosh, nope. Like sound engineer, whatever his name is. Ellis, I think his name is. Right, he was uh he liked it a lot. He Bux Palma. Okay, cool. Let's see what it does. Can you put a sim inside? I just want to know. Can you? Yeah, 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 yeah. Can you put a sim inside? That's all I want to know. I don't know. Comfortable power, field of flexibility. Can you put a sim inside? Just looking, see if you can. I don't know if you can. Doesn't look like you can. Let's check. I'm checking. I'm checking. I'm checking on their website. I don't think so. So I don't think you can have mobile data on this either. Oh, never mind then. I don't think you can do that either. But if you could, something like this, that's what you could probably get away with. Things like this. I'm sure that's what a lot of people could get away with. Honestly, just these kind of things where you just don't. You don't need it to be a phone anymore. Nobody uses it as a phone anymore because that's the thing. People don't, and they don't need it to be a phone. They can have these devices. You can have iPad-like devices too. That could pass. Because that's the thing. Text messaging is what people need, not phone calls. Last time you picked up the phone and decided to call someone, I've never called someone. I don't think I've called people in ever, like almost ever. Like it's so like no, I'm sorry. I don't. I just never have. Like I don't consciously decide that's how I'm gonna contact these people. Like not at all. Like what? And some generations are like what? What do you mean? That's not the first way you think of calling someone. Like no, or contacting someone. It's like no, not at all. Nope, not at all. It's like what? What? Like, it baffles some people, and it's like other people. It's like no, that's true. Yeah, Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Just in my opinion, it's kind of crazy how that's where we've turned into this whole thing. Like there will be generations of people who have never used a computer. There will be, and then there will be generations of people who just have, yeah, I don't go on any other websites. And then, if you're going to be if you use only basically social media, you probably couldn't even tell me last time you went on their website, social media website. I mean, some don't really have one like Snapchat, but like others, do you go on the website or do you go on the app? Like I think apps are crazy. No apps. I don't particularly think that we need. Everybody needs an app yet. Everybody needs to make their own app. For whatever they're doing. Not yet. Not necessarily. That's still a little just kind of whatever. What I mean by that is like we're still at the point. We're still where it's a little too specific. An app is a little too like whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary yet. I think you might get to a point where everything's an app, right? The meme type of stuff we did in like what 2010 to 20 like 13 or 2009 to 13 or something. When like everything had an app, there's an app for everything. Like, yeah. Oh yeah, there is, but you know, not to say that you shouldn't have an app. I'm just saying I don't think we necessarily need apps ever because it's too. Also, it's not as easy to just like drag and drop make an app the way you would make a website. So all I'm saying with the website thing is there's no excuse to not have a website. Is what I'm saying. There's no like real excuse to not have a website. But let's be honest, there's no real excuse. If you're trying to promote yourself in any way, if you're trying to sell something, if you're trying to be something. Now, not every person should have a website, but anybody doing anything like businessy or anything like that, you get a website. Like I made a website, right? I got a website now. Oh yeah. Okay, so I was gonna say it at the beginning, but I don't know. I guess I didn't think about it. So yeah. So the thing that I got now is got a website. So for me, like right, I got 360 virtual tours and I've got an Etsy store. The Etsy store doesn't sell me anything. I sell more things in person. I haven't sold anything on the Etsy store yet, which is kind of weird, but okay, sure. But yeah, um, so in my 360 virtual tour service, I have a website. I have a website. I have an Instagram page. I have a Pandora page or account. I have a YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna find the YouTube channel much. I'm not gonna promote that much. Because what I want to do is I want to use because with Pandora you can't embed videos. You can't embed you can embed. You can't upload videos directly. And so I'm like, oh, okay. You won't have to embed it through like YouTube or something. Cause I put that in and then Instagram doesn't allow 360 videos or photos of videos, which I think is because Facebook wants you to use Facebook for that, which is okay, sure, whatever. But I still think it's dumb. Because like the thing, I was looking for something like Instagram for 360 content, and I found Pandora, and I think Pandora is the best right now. But yeah, so yeah, at least in my anyway, so yeah, so in the bio, it says like I'll use it for other things, promotions and whatnot, and like show off little things here and there. But that the Instagram page, but it basically in the bio says Instagram does not allow for 360 content, photos and videos. So go to Pandora to find out. Let's see what my 360 virtual tours. Because what I want to do is I want to be able to make like videos of it and then send them out and as like promotionally. Look at the last thing I did. I was also asking my dad if you're in Canada, specifically Quebec, let me know because there's some information I should I'm trying to figure out like so what I'm trying to figure out is it's kind of the who legally own if you didn't make like any kind of um thing up front, right? Or you didn't make a contract, you didn't make anything. Like, who technically owns photos/videos? like, I'd love to ask my friend, but friend quotes, because I don't know anyway. Anyway, but don't talk anymore. So, but who owns said thing, right? Because, like, I own it. Is it mine? Is it yours? Like, is it the client or is it the me providing the service? Like, who? Like, so if I did a 360 virtual tour, right? But we didn't set up a thing ahead of time to figure out who's doing, like, figure out and say, okay, well, I own all, or I'm allowed to use this as a promotional thing. You don't like it, don't work with me, kind of thing. We didn't do any of that, and so who owns that tour? Who owns the photos in that tour? Who owns the photos, right? That's a legitimate question. Who owns them? Do I own them? Do you own them? Because there's that that. Cause I've looked at all the things where publicly what happens, right? Because for me, publicly, there's a whole like. It depends how public it is, where you're doing it, what you're doing. Because I was also thinking about another thing where at the young adults rally, right? That I go to once a month, right? I was asking my dad because he did a bunch of that stuff. He worked with. He had to find out all the legal stuff for when he was a teacher, and because he did the yearbook, and so it's like, oh, you have to figure out all the legal mumbo jumbo for like taking photos and videos and all that stuff. And he did the like variety show, so he recorded, so he did the video also, but with the photos. So I'm like, so how does that work then? And he goes, well, like I said, it depends on how public it is. Also, I think I brought that up, and he was like, yeah, probably. But it was the whole like, well, because I brought the whole thing up too of like, cause I said it's probably technically illegal, or like you probably technically not illegal, but you probably have to like get consent, or and I kind of asked like, if I didn't want my picture taken, who would I sue? And then it's like in that situation, the place it's being held at, because it's their connection at some point, or the person running it, or who's at fault here, or like and can I like retrospectively, or is it kind of one of those things too where it's like, well, once you've not said anything about it, because you haven't said anything about this, and you've been going for this long and it's been this thing, you can't complain about it anymore. You can't sue. I would be surprised if you can eventually just one day just decide, oh, I'm gonna sue you. 2 years into it, 3 years into it, right? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to like figure out, like, okay, well, how public is this? Is it obvious that there's a photographer? Is there? And I was talking to my friend, right? Because I was talking to my friend complaining about how, like some people don't get their picture taken, which I've already talked about that before. But the thing I was thinking there was this whole, okay, so then is it this whole thing of like we expect photos to be taken of us? Because I said when I was talking to my dad, I was like, okay, whoa. I had to have consent for myself, or no, there had to be consent given for taking photos at camp. So was at my summer camp, right? There had to be a consent form signed, or just a section of the whatever sign up form that went, would you like your picture taken? Right? And I was like, okay, you know what, sure. Like legally, I don't know if legally you need to do that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer here, so I'm assuming you probably. I don't know. That's also my dad was like, because he brought the same thing I did, where it's like the public area, right? He's like, yeah, well, how public is this? Is that technically considered a public thing? It's like, and I think he said, like, technically, yeah, no, it's public enough. I think. I'm like, because if it's really public, like I'm outside and like walking down the street, you've given up the right to your privacy because you're in a public area. So I can technically take a video of you or a photo of you, and like you would not have a very good case in court. That's as far as I know. I'm not a lawyer, so don't take this as legal advice. Or legal information. I'm just saying what I know from what I've looked up. From the information that I've gleaned, this is what I've figured out. So, which seems about right. Makes sense. So, makes sense. But that is, it goes, well, how private does private get? Is a mall public enough? And I think a mall works. Okay, well then what about what about a church? Or what about or what about a event where you're expecting not to have photos taken of you, right? Or like you're trying to, or what about things where it's like it's there's no like I don't know, there's no expectation of photos, or or there's an expectation of no photos, or like, cause I was also saying something like my, cause I also was at a wedding and I was asking my friend, I'm like, because they filmed this wedding, okay, and so I was like, would you want your wedding like live streamed? And he goes, no, no, no. And I'm like, okay, well, what about the people? What about those people who couldn't get it, right? Couldn't be there? It's like, look, okay, I will make the point to get them out there, you know. And if they can't get out there, well, do I want them really at my wedding? And I went, okay, fair enough. Now, recorded is a different thing. For whatever reason, I think recording a wedding is, and I don't think I asked him that question, but yeah. So and so that's the kind of thing too, where it's like, what if my expectation was like, is that okay? Because what if my expectation was, a wedding, a funeral, baptism, whatever, right? I didn't have it, not didn't have it recorded, but like I had an expectation of not recording, or I just didn't think there would be recordings of it, like, right? Or I just even like didn't even come to my mind, like, and I don't know, is that like a thing? I guess it depends also on how like how they record it too. I don't know if they would like, I could be like, hey, you're not allowed to be in my. No, I don't want it in there. No, no, no. I don't know. I don't know, cause like you. I mean, I didn't consent to anything, but I also didn't not. I don't know. It's hard to explain because I don't care. Although that wedding was an open invitation, so I technically wasn't invited. So the reception. No, sorry. The ceremony was an open invitation, so therefore, I think I lose all every. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know legal about that. That's I don't know. Cause like that's the thing. Live stuff kind of feels weird. I don't know much about like you like. I don't know, right? And also it depends on what kind of live. Is this live ever going to be shown up again somewhere else, or is it just a one time thing, and or is it like a one time thing and then the people who ran it can keep a copy, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's just for whatever. Like let's say the wedding, right? What if only the wedding party gets, has this live afterwards, or this live was just there's nothing for this live. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That for the live part. For the recorded, I don't know. That I have no idea. I could not tell you what that really means, but what that really is. But so yeah, I don't know. In my there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo that I don't know what you know. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, so if I make a 360 virtual tour, and I want to promote it one day, right? And I want to promote it. Is Am I just allowed to have that, or do I have to make like a thing in a stipulation in a contract that says? I think that's the right word, right? Okay, Google, definition of stipulation. Okay, Google, definition of stipulation. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. Okay, cool. Well, I think anyway, a thing in the contract that says, "Oh well, you're not, oh, I can turn this into a whatever." I can use this. I can make this. I can do this. I don't know. In my opinion, oh well. Okay. Oh, that's why. I thought it was 9 should have done 42. Oh, anyway. So yeah, I don't know. My dad said, well, you probably just to be safe want to make like a contract that says like you're going to um be able to use all of these things in um what's it called in oh my gosh for whatever purposes you want. You repurpose them for whatever. Well, I don't know. That maybe I don't know. Actually, I don't know about that. But yeah, like I can make a video of it, or I can do this or that of this, so I can promote it. I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't know. I feel like legally that's okay. Although some of you might be like, well, I don't know. 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 I'm not a lawyer, so I know the case with the woman who's like, that's my image. You can't use that, but she sold it to Getty Images. It's technically it's not her image anymore, right? So I know that there's that case, but I don't know what that really means, right? What that really, how that works, how that falls into my thing. Like, also, I don't know. Like, also, the other thing is, like, I also wanted to know, like, what photos could I sell of things? Like, when does it become private enough that I can't sell this, make profit? And I don't know. Anyway, so I think that's going to be it for now, guys. So if you want to get in touch with me, there's the two Discord servers, or there's the email, taoimposters@gmail.com. That's taoimposters@gmail.com. There's the Discord, and then if you want to support me, there's the Patreon, patreon.com/wingwong. That's patreon.com/wingwong. There's the Etsy shop. I don't know if I'm going to put my website up now. Might do it in the description of this one, yeah. Website, and maybe the Instagram, so. But yeah. I think it's going to be it for now, guys. So, adios, mi amigos.